Hey, what's happening, everybody? Coach and Beyond, Coach Sagasta. And today we're going to talk about marriage, man. I mean, I said I would definitely do this absolutely for Dr. Thomas and for the ETA family. It's evident, man, that, marriage is something so sacred, man. Since the numbers, I want to say anywhere between 1890. I want to say between 1890 and 2010. Maybe presently they've been taking polls, and they've been doing like different statistical numbers that show the ages of men. So let me enlighten you real fast. Where me and my stand is nowhere in between what they have in the census and the statistical numbers for where marriage should be. But I can tell you right now that there's a jump between 1890 and 1990. There was a huge jump. I can tell you that honestly, with everything that I've researched and everything I've found, that today there was a jump for men and women. Okay, so men in 1990, we're looking at around about 2%. Women, about 3.5%. You went from 23 to 26. Okay, so 23 women were marrying a spouse and a partner, but they were marrying early in age at 23 years old. Today it's 26, 27 years old, and of course men vice versa. So it's a little bit more back then for men. It was more like 23. There was a slight change, because back then in 1990, you looked at men were marrying around 28 years old. Today they're marrying about 26 years old. Not all, but just some. And to be honest with you, I could have broke it down in cultures and a demographic area, economic area of where people are in their lives, but I can definitely attest that there are many people out there today that are going into marriages. Many people in the world are going through marriages looking for stability, making sure that there's structure, and that of got a fat back pocket bank account, you know what I'm saying, or drives a fancy car, or has the white picket house on top of the hill. These are all things that are basically a mirage in the desert. The reality is kind of like what I explain on my show, is you're going to get out of life what you put into it. It's easy as that. It's easy to, let me fix the camera there. It's easy to attest to that you're going to get out of life what you put into it. And that's the same thing with marriage. What you apply into it is what you'll get out of it. And it's evident, how long have me and my wife been married? Me and my wife been married 17 years, been together 18 years. And we met early in age. I could definitely share with her not being here at this moment, and she's definitely given me the privilege, the honor of explaining a little bit more of our relationship to you and how it's happened. So there are some moments where I am a little embarrassed to explain, but understand the reason why I explain it to you, that way you understand exactly who I am, where I am, and where I'm going, especially for our healthy relationship. But I can tell you honestly that in our early marriage, in our early years, when I first met my wife, I met her through a friend, an acquaintance. And I can definitely say that I was attracted to her, and literally I can definitely say that it was the body. The body attracted me more than the person did at that time. It wasn't until I started, knowing my wife, and my girlfriend at the time, spending more time with her. I literally spent so much time with her. We would go out to lunch together every weekend, every day after school. She was coming to see me because I was already graduated. She was a junior, so she was still in school. And she would, every single day, before school, after school, she'd come and see me, and if I was at work, but she'd come pick me up. There was just a law of attraction that was being the affinities that were attracting. It was like a magnet, and that's what it exactly was. It was like a magnet. And so they say opposites attract. Well, I can definitely say that me and my wife do have some opposites about each other. But nonetheless, man, I was really engaged in this woman, and I wanted to date her. I wanted to court her. But I found out, coming from, she only has one brother, and so I mean, knowing her family was an ideal key, man. I mean, for me to marry this beautiful woman, So in order to date her, in order to court her, I had to go to church. I had to follow their structure, And me, I had gone to different churches growing up. I mean, it was just, what I'm saying is I had to have faith. I had to have some faith in my relationship, okay? It was strong, it was evident, and I needed it. But I also needed faith within myself, because I'm going to get into a little bit here shortly of exactly what I'm talking about. But I can definitely say that after we had our first child, Isaac, it was, whoa. Like I was, we just got married. We found out she was pregnant in '99. We got married real quick, and I was just in awe, man. Like I was still young. I still wanted to party. I still wanted to do my thing, And yeah, I left my wife for a short time. I was definitely being ignorant, and what I mean by that is I left her with child. I was there for the birth of my child, but shortly after that, I went out and grabbed my own apartment, partied day in and day out, started doing a little bit of drugs, and nothing to be proud of. As I said, I knew I was going to be a little bit embarrassed about this, but this is exactly what I'm talking about is, I don't want to be conformed to be isolated with it. I need to share that, and it might help somebody else to prove that, if I can do it, you can do it. Okay. But I can definitely tell you that going through that time of trial and tribulation in my life, it was a struggle. And Frederick Douglass once said, where there is no struggle, there is no progress. And that's absolutely true. So I had to utilize all this struggle. And I hit rock bottom. I lost my job, and I came crawling back to her. And by God's love and by her love and her forgiveness, she forgave me. Her parents took a long time. Her brother forgave me, but her parents took an absolute long time to forgive me. And I expected that, but man, it was year after year. Like I would almost say about 5 years went by where they finally started actually forgiving me. You know what I'm saying? And it's one thing to say, I forgive you, but to fully place it in your heart and outwardly expose it, like I forgive you, that can be absolutely hard. You know what I'm saying? So it was that, and then me and my wife, we're in the process of buying our very first own home. We lived in a studio with one child for a very long time, and then we were getting ready to have another child, Andrew, shortly after that, and it was the time to buy. So we bought our first home, and we lived there happily, for quite a while, about five or 8 years, somewhere around there. And through all that process, I was working construction, working 2 or 3 jobs, making sure she was a stay-at-home mom. And then the market blew up. We lost our home. I lost my job. We lost our first car. So we were homeless again as a family. We ended up being homeless for a short bit. And my mother and father-in-law took us in, helped us out, got us back on our feet. I had to find work other places. And it was a trying time, and in that same process, we were expecting another, which was our daughter, and it was a trying time. It was just a straight struggle for us. I was drinking, partying with people at work, and I had a fix-in where I was driving and I got in trouble with the law. And what I mean by that is I got intoxicated. I was working construction, and I took some gentlemen home intoxicated. And as I dropped them off, the individual I dropped off, he got in a huge heated battle with his spouse for being out late and smelling like alcohol, that he physically hit her. And she jumped in my car and was like, "Go, take me to my mom's house." And so what could I do? So I hit the floor, hit the accelerator, peeled out. As soon as I hit the street to take this woman to her mother's house, a police officer pulls me over, smelled the alcohol, took me straight to jail. As I was sitting in the cell, I was thinking to myself, wow, what a world, what a world. as I told you about the struggle, there is no progress, right? And as Frederick Douglass once said, and I didn't know what I was facing. I got one phone call. I called home on a collect call, and my mother-in-law hung up on me. I called back one more time, and she handed the phone over to my wife. And my wife was just shattered, once again, shattered. I didn't know what was going to happen. I told her what had happened to the detail. During that time, I was also a song leader in a church. And that's, kind of brings us up this point where if you're unfaithful with where you are and where you're going, sometimes these things happen. This is because of your applied faith, right? So understand that, when I was going through this time that's sitting, I'm on the phone, I hang up the phone. I believe it was a week went by, and finally I was able to see the judge. And I was facing 15 years to life. And the reason why is because it was child endangerment. The individual that was in the car with me had her son in her hand. And because I had her in the car, I was intoxicated. In the state of California, it was child endangerment. And so I was safe. I was facing that imprisonment, $500,000 bond, along with my reckless endangerment and under the influence of alcohol. So I was facing all these charges. And so I was just praying and praying and praying and asking God, forgive me, forgive me, forgive me. Now you tell me there's no God, because when I got done and I said my piece, and I didn't have the money or the nerve to ask for, the service of an attorney. So I served myself. And before God Almighty, I tell you right now that I looked the judge straight down in his eye, and I told him everything that happened, word for word, and all that I have done wrong. I took accountability that moment. Shortly after that, I started making my way. The progress. I started finally putting everything into a better perspective, a broad perspective. So I stopped being the victim, and I started being accountable. And so even to my wife, we moved into another house, and I found another job, a great career as a PE teacher. And I had coached sports for many years, but my love, my true passion for our marriage was to build it, was to be accountable and take responsibility for my marriage. And it's a fact, man. One of the greatest, and I shared this morning with somebody, but it's such an evident, man, that the more that you surround yourself with strong, faithful individuals, the better your relationship will be. And it's a proven fact. Even with intelligence, even with knowledge, or with, if you want to be a doctor, you're going to surround yourself with great doctors. And everything comes with that fact. And it's the same thing with, an alliance between one another in our marriage. Or your marriage, your marriage is like the number one alliance in the world. As I pointed out to my brother this morning, I says, it's the financially, physically, mentally, and spiritually doesn't make you absolutely strong. You have to have that strong alliance. And I believe that with all my heart. When I look back, all the way back to biblical time, they had a strong alliance. You know what I'm saying? They had a faithful, strong alliance. In the biblical terms. And there's so many psychologists, there's so many people out there trying to fix a relationship. But the reason why relationships are failing is because there is no applied faith to each other. You know what I'm saying? So there it is there. Me and my wife, as I said, we've seen our struggles. We've seen some trials and tribulations, even me losing my job today. I mean, literally, I was sacrificing for 6 years. Literally, I sacrificed anniversaries, I sacrificed birthdays, I sacrificed in special engagements to be with the kids and give them a coach, an absolute, substantial, great coach, and I don't know, but they say God works in mysterious ways, and they say everything in life works, has a purpose, and I believe that with all my heart. I know that for a fact that all things work together for good to those who love Him, to those who are called according to His word, and I believe that with all my heart. So I know that there are other engagements in life that will benefit for me, my family, and my community. So I thank God so much that what had happened, but my wife, she wasn't devastated. Not like before. Why? Because she has a strong relationship. We have an alliance together, a unity. a strong unity, and it's in our faith in one another. You know, I mean, and during those times of tribulations, when I left my wife, you know, I cheated on her. You know, I was a fool. I was absolutely ignorant. You know, propelled to do something that was absolutely wrong. You know, but she forgave me. She let it go. She's not forgotten. Believe me, your mind doesn't forget, especially when it's, you know, when you had something so detrimental to your life, so catastrophic, or even such an excitement that you just almost came out of your skin. It stays. It's an imprint in your mind. So, you know, all the trials and tribulations we went through in our marriage, you know what? Those were hard times. I mean, I could always go back to the great times of having kids and seeing the great achievements that they have done. But the reality is, you know what? It was young. We were very young. And we went through so many trials and tribulations. We could have been a part of the statistics in America. We could have been part of seeing the psychiatrists and going to doctors and taking prescriptions and seeing, you know, being on, don't take this wrong, but being on the Dr. Phil show or the Jerry Springer show, you know what I'm saying? But the reality is, you know what? We kept on working at it each and every single day. And I used to tell kids this all the time. You want to be a champion, you got to work like a champion. And that's the same thing with your marriage. You want your marriage to work, then you got to work at it every single day. The whole saying is day by day in every way, I will succeed. And succeeding in your marriage is absolutely, absolutely, positively important for you. I know that. I believe it with all my heart. And listen, you know, if I can do it, you can do it. It's, you know, but you have to definitely sacrifice. You definitely have to apply action every single day. You cannot just say, hey, I want a great marriage. It don't work like that, my friend. No, you've got to apply action to it. You know what I mean? Some days I cook for my family. Some days I help my wife clean. Some days I don't do laundry. I will not. Sometimes she'll ask me to fold. I'll start to help fold. And she's like, no, not like that. So I back away. I'm like, yo, this is your deal. This is your gig. This is not my gig. You know what I mean? Taking care of the yard work, that's my gig. I don't ask you to come out and help me. But, you know, it was a wonderful time. And I cannot stress the greatness of our relationship and how much it's gone through and where it's going, you know, and it's strong every single day. You know, sometimes she'll just pop in on the morning show. I'll be doing the morning show, no sugar in my coffee on the morning show. She'll just pop in and give me a kiss right after I'm done or right before, or she'll give me a hug. You know, I mean, before she goes and works out, she'll give me a hug. She'll give me a kiss. She said, I love you. I said, you know what? I love that. You know why? Because from time to time, they say behind every great man is a phenomenal wife. Behind every great man is a phenomenal wife. And Coach Richard Solomon, who used to be the defensive coordinator under Dennis Green back in the Minnesota Viking era and the Arizona Cardinal era. And I once had the opportunity and the privilege and honor of coaching with him for offense, defense. And man, let me tell you, prayer was his number one thing. Putting his faith was strong. You know what I'm saying? And he once told me, we were having coffee, he says, behind every great coach is a good woman. And I was like, whoa. So I took it a step further. And I said, behind every great coach is a great woman, is a phenomenal woman, because she's the backbone and she's the support. She's the doctor. She's the lawyer. She's the cook. You know what I'm saying? The list goes on. She's the cook. She's the nurse. I mean, she's everything. She's the home taker. She's the home. I'm telling you, she's the homemaker. She does everything, man. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes women are underpaid, privileged, under honor, under gratified. And I straight up say, man, my beloved wife, Sarah Sagasta, I thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. And I thank you guys so much for taking the time to listen. And I hope that in light of everything that you might be able to share it, and you might take something, one thing, two things, or many things from it, and utilize it towards your marriage. Have a beautiful and great day today, okay? Be awesome. Make the rest of your week the best of your week, okay?